And we are live. It's YouTube Live, and we're going to talk about something. Look, in my last video, I talked to marketers and I revealed some stuff that I think you deserve to know just in terms of where consumers are at and how you can be much more successful in business without all of the scammy marketing stuff that you were doing in the past, because it no longer works. I want you to become successful in business. I want you to make a lot of money. I want you to help a lot of consumers. So what's my background and why am I qualified to talk about this? Well, for over 12 years, I've been a consumer expert. I've been a consumer advocate, and I'm also a free market capitalist. I love seeing businesses make great money, but I love it when we do this ethically. And I love when we're able to help good people serve audiences, but that we honor and respect where we're at in the economy and we look at the trends and what is actually working. So in my last video, I talked very specifically to marketers, and I want you to watch that because it was fresh off the heels of reading an amazing book by Schaefer called Marketing Rebellion. So if you haven't watched that video, make sure you hit subscribe to this channel. Make sure you go back and you watch that other video, because if you do any marketing at all, you need to know where we are at right now, because you are probably, after you go through that information, you are probably going to want to make some immediate changes to your website, your email, your social media, and everything else that you're doing to communicate to the masses. But in this video, I want to very specifically talk to anyone who is doing sales, which should be pretty much everybody, all right? And I'm going to share with you. So I was just at a major event. I was at Grant Cardone's 10X conference, which was great. There was over 30,000 people there. But I want to share with you something that he taught from the stage in his opening keynote. And when I saw it, I'm going to hold on to my opinion for a second here. I just want you to know that I shared this with my audience and I ended up getting a lot of feedback. And before I share that, I'm gonna shut this window because my next door neighbor all of a sudden just did a bunch of, sounding like they're doing yard work. My gosh. I think it's pressure washing going on. Okay, so let me share with you a sales script. And what I want you to do, okay, please be honest with me. Okay, if you are in sales marketing, if you are a sales trainer, I want you to take your sales trophy and go and set it on the shelf, right? Let go of it. Stop hugging it and polishing it. I want you to take your sales hat off, put it on over on the shelf. All right, I just want to talk to you consumer to consumer. You with me? Okay, so imagine that I call you, and this is, by the way, this is what is being taught from the stage. You ready? I'm gonna shut this door over here too, just in case you can still hear that. All right, because you're gonna love this. Hey, Susan, Josh Elledge here. Hey, the reason I'm calling is I'd like 5 minutes on Wednesday to discuss something with you. Will you give me 5 minutes? So, if someone said that to you, or they left a voicemail and they said that to you, what would you think? Let me do it again, all right? Hey, Marie, Josh Elledge here. The reason I'm calling is I'm not going to say it like, I'm starting to say it like, we need more cowbell. That guy, Christopher Walken. No, I'm not. Hey, Marie, Josh Elledge. I'm going to talk like Josh Elledge, not Christopher Walken. Josh Elledge here. The reason I'm calling is I'd like 5 minutes on Wednesday to discuss something with you. Will you give me 5 minutes? Okay, so if you're Marie, if you're Susan, like, how does that approach feel? Honestly, do you think that it would work? What would be your response to that? Hey, Susan, Josh Elledge here. The reason I'm calling is I'd like 5 minutes on Wednesday to discuss something with you. Will you give me 5 minutes? Okay, so if you're being honest, you probably have a similar response to, I had 46 people respond when I asked about this. And by the way, there were over like 120 comments. It got into a really heated conversation. But of the 46, 43 people had either a negative to very negative response to that. And I want you to think about this if you're in sales or if you're a sales trainer and you're still teaching this crap. Listen, okay, first off, let me just lay some groundwork. Okay, I respect the work that Grant Cardone does. The dude's a rock star, okay? That being said, let's talk about what works for you. Okay, and you could choose whether or not you want to do that. And I'll talk about why I believe that he's teaching this in the way that he's doing. Dude obviously knows what he's talking about. Okay, because I'm sure a lot of people buy this training program. And so he's learned that he needs to teach somebody something so super simple, just like this, to maybe gain their confidence. And then they'll buy the thing or whatever and the sales training. And then when they get into sales training, then he'll teach them what really works. And, which today is all about building relationships. I'm very much a fan of Bob Berg, the Go-Giver, work Mark Schaefer is doing, Marketing Rebellion, just understanding what is working in 2019. Okay, not what worked 5 years ago, or not in this case, maybe what worked 10, 15, 20 years ago. But again, probably knows what he's doing a lot more than what Josh Hillage knows. So, by the way, I would really, really love as I'm going to share these comments with you. And you deserve to know, if you are in sales, how consumers feel about this approach. And I'm hoping that I can convince you to not do this approach, especially as I share what they feel. And so I would really rely on your response below, because as I share this, maybe my friends are completely out to lunch. They don't have a clue what they're talking about. Maybe I don't have a clue what I'm talking about. Please let me know in the comments. Or maybe you think I'm onto something. And if you think I'm onto something, please let me know in the comments below. Also, if you feel that you kind of like where this conversation is going and you want to help me change the world, will you please share this video, especially if you have friends that are in sales or in marketing. I want to help them make more money. I want them to have happy customers. I don't want them to burn bridges with friends. If you have friends that are in network marketing, any of that sort of thing. And unfortunately, I think network marketing is notorious for this kind of an approach, as you will see. We're going to help them do something and become a little bit more successful. And again, I'll share with you some ideas. And I've got some friends that shared some really good feedback. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go through, would this approach work? So we'll start off with Nancy. And I'm going to share all first names, no last names, just to kind of protect, because they didn't necessarily say that they wanted me to share this with the world. So I'll just share their first name. Nancy says, telephone solicitors are trash. So all of a sudden, you could see that you're kind of getting lumped in with a certain category. Do people like telephone solicitors? Absolutely not. Does this approach feel like telephone solicitation? It does. And so that should give us a clue if we're trying to connect with people, if we want them to connect with us so that we can provide them more value and possibly enter into a transaction, then maybe we might want to avoid telephone solicitation tactics, used car sales tactics, and all of this stuff. Guys, I have witnessed this stuff. I've been through, I was a member of Russell Brunson's with ClickFunnels or 2 Comma Club coaching. And one of the bonus trainings that they offered to us was a high ticket sales program. And I don't really do high ticket sales, but I was curious what it was like. And I went through the training, and I'm telling you, I felt so icky and dirty. I literally, I got a stomach ache just listening to kind of like this hardcore, Glenn Ross, coffees for closers kind of stuff. And look, Does it work? Obviously, it's working for somebody. It's working for the people that are selling the high-ticket sales technique closing programs. But is it working for the salespeople? I don't know, probably. But if I can help change the culture and move you toward more of a Bob Burg relationship building approach, I only pray that I can help make just a little bit of an impact in the world. So Catherine says, I'd call him right back and give him my social security number and my credit card information, and then she makes some goofy emoticons. So in other words, yeah, no. Christine says, I want to talk to you about something, and then not telling me what equals instant anxiety attack for me and instant delete for them. David responds to that 100%. It's a former friend that would do this, and that's why they're a former friend. Put that in your 10X pipe and smoke it. No, look, again, Grant Cardone, like his book, The 10X Principle, I just got done reading. It is honestly one of the better books that I've ever read in terms of like motivation. Really, really great stuff. Okay, so we're not talking about that. We're only talking about this one single thing. My friend Glenn says, click. My friend Chris, very successful business person. Nope, can't stand unsolicited sales pitches. I have been endlessly called and emailed by the same guy about 20 times with this exact pitch. It is not effective. Archie, very successful in sales, says, I've heard that from Amway reps, never telling you who they are with. Again, guys, what we're talking about is association. Jennifer says, no thanks. Carrie says, nope. Desiree says, this seems like a waste of time. Mindy, very successful in business. By the way, a lot of these people, I'm very honored that they took the time to respond. Pretty much everybody is like very successful professionally. And a lot of people in sales, a lot of people in marketing, a lot of people entrepreneurial. And look, if there's going to be a friendly audience, it's going to be this audience. But these people are telling you that if you're following this kind of training method, you need to stop, right? And you need to start respecting people more. Because the other argument could be, and I'm going to share a couple of people that actually defended this, is that, Josh, it's just a numbers game. Who cares? All right. And so that approach, I believe, short term will work. Okay. It can work, right? Are you going to tick a lot of people off? Yes. Are you going to burn your brand when people find out what you're talking about? Yeah, because they don't like that approach. Okay. When a salesperson comes up to you and just starts laying it on thick or doing the fake scarcity or all this other nonsense, guys, come on. Consumers are savvier than they've ever been. This is just not, it's not, and you're going to see this pattern as I share more of what people are saying. This is not the 80s and 90s anymore. Okay. You can't get away with this crap. Okay, so it's time to start treating people like they are smart, they are capable, and they know how to find out information for themselves. Because when you respect people, they will respect you back. When you give to people, they will give to you back. And it's just like dating. And so if you go on a date and you just create an environment that's comfortable and you show your best self, they'll let you know if they're interested in you. You don't have to go for the hard sell. It's just awkward. Let's continue on. Mindy, not a snowball's chance in hell. I even heard the, will you give me 5 minutes? Because I've already hung up on this. Manny says, I'd completely disregard. It sounds to me like a cryptic sales pitch lead-in. Josh Brown, hell no, delete. Miranda says, no, just no. Amanda, very successful at selling, says, no, this cannot be real. Number 1, cold calling sucks. Number 2, anyone vague on the phone sounds sketchy. And number 3, for real, just tell me what you're offering. Okay. Number 15. I'm kind of reading the list here. Seth says, yeah, if I know you want to turn our interactions into a zero-sum game, I'm not going to take the ball and go home. I'm just never going to show up in the first place. Next person says, take that crap back to 1992 where it stopped working. Ouch. Leah says, I get spam like that all the time. Delete. Denise says, delete. Laura says, I don't take marketing calls. That's her mantra. Lisa says, yuck. Luke says, and Luke actually, I will say that Luke has kind of a mixed reaction to this, but he says, try it 100 times and check the results yourself. Say it with confidence. Just to be clear, this is a telemarketer script, which I would never do. I use the Gary Vaynerchuk approach of jab, 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 right hook. And this would kind of be like asking girls walking down the street for a date. And don't you think that that would be an appropriate visualization for, should I be doing this? Okay. If you don't care about people's feelings or this potential relationship or whether or not you're bothering this person, then you go ahead and barnstorm right ahead. A lot of people that as kind of got deep into the conversation said, if you're a sales manager and this is what you're teaching, you're likely going to end up having a lot of burnout because this is just a hard way to earn a living. I mean, if you've got the eye of the tiger and you're just going to blitz right through lots of people, all in the sake of the mighty dollar and the mighty commission, then again, I guess that's just, where you're at personality. And please, clue me in the comments and let me know where I'm completely out to lunch and I'm not taking into consideration. Because again, I get the numbers argument. I don't like the numbers argument, and I don't think that that's where we need to be in today. Tom says, nope. Amanda says, I got lots of Amanda friends, by the way. 20 years ago, maybe. It's shocking to me that with social media and email, people are acting like the phone is a thing that's needed to make money at all. Talk about spinning your wheels and wasting your energy. Andre says, probably worked 20 years ago. You hearing this a lot? Sales trainers, sales professionals. It may have worked 20 years ago from the sheer curiosity it could evoke, but markets have evolved. I think it also depends heavily on the tonality. You got to sound like a nice guy and not a shark, right? Gary, very successful sales professional, terrible pitch, vague, overly contrived, yet clear they're coming to get you. Vince says, I get these a lot, also in an email version. I just ignore them unless I need someone to talk to. Jen says, I'd hang up or ignore. Mystery doesn't work for me in this age of scammers. See, people are more skeptical than they are ever before. Shannon, very successful. Hi, blank. Shannon here. I'm emailing you on behalf of a Nigerian prince who has a bridge for sale. Will you give me 5 minutes? Audrey says, nope, delete, on to the next message. D says, I would block your number. Scott says, well, yeah, I mean, if Grant Cardone himself called and left that message, sure, I'd be down to speak with him. But if some unknown random person just left me that message, I would delete it faster than a cheetah chasing an antelope with a burrito taped to its tail. All right, so here's another common thing that I saw, and I'm not going to share every single comment here. But it has to, he mentioned that if Grant Cardone himself called and left this message, he'd take the call. Why? It's because Grant Cardone has a lot of authority. And so Scott recognizes who this person is. If Tony Robbins, I've had the opportunity to speak with the Tony Robbins organization, and if Tony Robbins contacted me personally, I would absolutely pay very close attention. I'm not saying I would buy, but I would absolutely, if it were possible to buy, I absolutely would. Okay, and this has to do with authority. And I'm going to do videos all about authority. Authority is the most valuable currency you can have in 2019 and beyond. And if you're not investing in your personal brand and in your authority and in your influence, okay, you're just asking to do this the hard way. Okay, you're just asking to do this in the hamster running around the hamster wheel way. And what I want to help you, and if you'll let me by subscribing and clicking notification, I will be in service to you. I promise every video I do, I'm going to bring my A game. And I'm going to teach you what I've learned in creation of many, 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 many millions of dollars in business. And I promise I'm going to give you everything that I've got in terms of everything that I've researched, everything that I've learned. I've built up a couple of pretty successful businesses, and I've also failed in businesses a lot. And so I want to help you. I'm committed to helping you become successful by shortcutting so you don't have to make quite so many mistakes. And you deserve to know the truth in regards to how consumers feel about sales approaches like this. Samantha, if you were Oprah or Ellen, sure. Otherwise, not a chance. Again, getting back to authority. Make sure you hit subscribe because I'm going to talk about authority a lot in this YouTube channel. Lee, very successful. I absolutely hate this approach. I'm busy AF. I need to know whether or not I'm interested immediately. If there's nothing attractive, I'll delete it. Same thing with emails. In my former corporate job, I would get emails from people asking for my permission to send their attachment, conference agenda, etc. Absolutely not, he says in all caps. You've already wasted my time and taken me out of my flow by reading this stupid email. Now you want to distract me from my work and deadlines again? You are put on the spam list. Lindsay, very successful response to this. What he said, I just need to know so I can switch gears. It's best for the person calling me to not have me in accounting or bookkeeping mode and then want to talk about marketing. Glenn responds to this. I wish phone calls cost a dime each, no matter the duration. I hate telemarketers and would never buy anything from them ever, even if they had the best deal in the world for something I need. I have a rule of thumb. I do not do business with spammers, okay? I don't care if it's the best offer in the world. I'm not going to do business with them on principle. I'm not saying that cold email doesn't work when it's done appropriately. Cold email done appropriately would be very clear on what you're asking, very clear on who you are, very clear on what the connection is. How did we get in touch? Okay, you have to provide that context. Otherwise, this is pretty much going to be spammy and people are going to hate you for it. Okay, is it a numbers game and can you bother enough people so that somebody will fall for it? Well, it's becoming less and less successful, but you could still do it. And I'm sure there's going to be trainers and people selling you stuff that will convince you that you can make money doing this. But honestly, like in your heart of hearts, what is the impact that you want to make in the world? You could still be a hard-charging son of a gun, 100% passion in what you do, and you can share that passion with lots of people, but you could do it in a way where you're not bulldozing them, right? Just do it with love. All right. Lekon says, not a freaking chance. I'd never respond to this in a lifetime. Teresa, delete, says, if you want to cold contact me, I'd prefer an email telling me what it is that you want. Mary Aline says, I think I was being pitched by an MLM and I would think, why can't we have a 5-minute conversation right now if it's that important? And frankly, I would think, but Grant is a nice guy, so I guess I would be a jerk if I said no. And so again, if you've got the authority, here's another thing. Okay, you might be doing this and people might be giving you the 5 minutes. Okay, but you have to understand that they're doing it probably out of sympathy because they don't want you to think that they're a jerk. But meanwhile, are you damaging the relationship? Is it worth damaging the relationship? Listen, I'm giving you the feedback. I'm telling you how people respond to this. And so if you want to risk your relationship, then you could do this. But quite frankly, I don't think you need to. I think that there's a better way. And that better way is by giving value. It's by serving. It's by educating. It's by, just being a kind, loving, giving person, and you make the information available, and then people will, it's a dance, right? And so it's like an improv. So I studied improv comedy, and you build a scene brick by brick, right? One person just offers a little bit, and then the next person, the next person says yes, and, right? And then they give a little bit to the scene. And then before you know it, you have this beautiful thing that's been created. It's never been created before and it'll never be created again, right? That's improv. And so it's kind of like that in dating. It's the same thing, and it should be that same thing in sales. My friend Jeremy says, nope. Catherine says, 5 minutes? Sure, for $10,800. Lindsay says, I get the curiosity element, but imagine calling that person back and being slammed into a sales pitch. I feel it would be off-putting. And it also sets an example for the company. I don't communicate well with cryptic messages, and I think it's important to understand that. I like a warm approach. Here's what I'm working on. Here's how I thought it might help you. So let's chat so I can learn more about you. Again, go-giver approach, and see if we're a good fit. So when we talk with a lot of people with UpMyFnfluence, and it's, for me, like, the conversation is all about, tell me about what you do, tell me where you're at in business. And then, the conversation, because I really treat it then like I'm a pharmacist. And it's like, they tell me what their ailment is. All right. And then I listen to them, and sometimes I have a solution for them, and sometimes I don't. Right? If they say that they're new in business and they don't have a budget, well, I've got some free stuff that I'd love to give them and love to offer them. If they've got a budget, okay, that's a little bit different category. And then we talk about, well, what are their big needs right now? And sometimes I hear them and I say, well, it doesn't really sound like you need what I have to offer. I think you probably should just dump all your money into ads or something like that. And sometimes that happens. And I will refer them to a good friend, someone that I trust, who I know is going to take very good care of them and has my same go-giver mentality, right? By the way, go read Bob Burg's The Go-Giver Sells More, right? Guide to Selling. It will change your life, right? And when you focus on the needs of other people first, like, you're going to find, like, you don't have to wrestle with anybody. You don't have to you don't have to chase anybody down. You just focus on bringing value to people, and it's pretty easy. Like, I really love that approach. Okay. Joseph, getting toward the end here, and I've got 3 more. All right. Joseph says, I think Grant Cardone is making more money selling his conference than he is selling on the phone. Could be. Again, that's Joseph's. I've already shared how I feel about Grant. I got respect. All right. I want to share these last 2 because I think they're pretty insightful. Kristen and yet another Amanda. Kristen says, when someone won't tell me what it's regarding, I am not down for that. It's old school salesy, the worst part of MLM. It's evasive. Frankly, I just don't think you need to be that cagey. Kristen, by the way, very, very successful. But you can do it. We all have to decide how we want to do business. Okay. And then she shares her script, okay, that for booking talks that's similar-ish, but includes what the heck I'm calling about. She goes, hi, this is Kristen over at her company. I was thinking about your group the other day and had an idea that might make for great content for an upcoming meeting. Let's chat when you have a few minutes. And so I really, really like her approach because it's much more permission based. She's not just barging ahead, right? And then, again, she's, I came up with an idea, may or may not fit for you. Love to find out, right? And it's focused on their need. Okay, we do this, we do something like this, and we're always asking ourselves, what's something that we could give to this person that they don't even need to pay for? So, like, if you ever engage with us at UpMyFnfluence, like, you're going to find, like, we give you a lot of free stuff, just because, whether or not we engage, like, we just look for opportunities to provide value because we got stuff we could do. We got 100,000 social media followers. We've got connections we could make. We've got podcasts and we could celebrate other people. We love doing that. We feel like it's our calling. We feel that, there's really never an instance where we're saying no to people, but it's like, oh, well, we could provide value in this way. Another approach that Kristen shares for a potential client would go something like this. Hey, this is Kristen. I was thinking about your business, had a few ideas for where you could take it this year. Let me know when you have a second. Love to share some ideas or love to send this to you via email or whatever. All right. So again, I think, just being a little bit more upfront, telling people what this is regarding, I think is really going to relax people. And then you let them know, hey, it's completely your choice. It's completely up to you. Amanda shares this. I really like this. Here's my theory on why this doesn't work anymore. It's too easy to seek information. This really gets into some marketing rebellion stuff. We no longer need people to come to us for anything. We can research anything we want, literally at our fingertips. What a beautiful age to live in, by the way. So if you're selling hot dogs, for instance, but I'm only slightly hungry, I'm not going to just pick up the first hot dog I see. I might ask a friend which brand of hot dogs they like, or I might go online to see if people think the brand with pretty packaging actually tastes good. Hot dogs might be a dumb analogy, but you get the point. And I talk about this, by the way, in my last video about marketing rebellion. Go back and watch that because I talk about the fact that 2/3, if you're a business owner, 2/3 of your marketing is not your own. It's just what people are talking about, what's happening on social media, what influencers are saying, people leaving reviews. Okay, that's how people are making their buying decisions today. So what should you do? In light of this fact, well, you create an excellent service. You provide moments of delight. You commit to a great relationship with your clients, paying clients, and your audience, the audience that's not yet paying for your services yet. And you give. That's what you do. You're not going to surprise anyone with new knowledge by cold calling them. Either they want or need your service or they don't. If they need it, they're probably going to seek you out on their own if you're marketing well. If they don't need it, they don't want to hear from you. And guys, you get to respect that. Not everybody, and I think most of us know that, right? Even it's a numbers game people, okay? They know this full and well. Why not give yourself the best chance possible? You might feel as though this is a little bit less efficient, to spend a little bit more time, or maybe you're just laying out more gifts for the world first. Maybe you're focusing on building your authority. And again, authority comes from social proof. It comes from your domain expertise and your achievements and your success. Have you actually done something? Do you truly provide value? Okay. Social proof, by the way, is pretty much today is kind of your social media following. All right. Or is there a way to find out by looking at your website that it seems well trafficked? And then number 3, your associations. And so if you're investing in your long-term growth, I would argue that authority is probably the most important thing that you can invest in today. Again, write that down. Okay. It is your social proof. It's your domain authority. And then or your success and, does your thing actually work? Is it a really great product? And number 3, your associations. Are you working with other influencers? Are other people saying nice things about you? So now look, I had a couple of people that took a counterpoint to this, and I can kind of sum up their point that it's kind of a numbers game, and you have to look at the behavior of a new salesperson, and you need to get them doing something very, very simple. And this approach is super simple. I would argue, though, that I think that because the odds are so stacked against this person, I don't want to have them go through the emotional turmoil. I would rather see if I could get them to commit to investing in growing their presence and their brand for 60, 90 days. And then from that point on, the rest of their life in growing their business is going to be much, much easier. I could give you very specific tactical advice on what to do. You can go watch my webinar over at UpMyFnfluence. It's free. I'm not going to go into a weird sales pitch in it. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do to invest in your brand. Okay? And I'm telling you right now, the first thing I would do, especially if I had no budget, is I would just join a bunch of Facebook groups and just be helpful and just serve people and give value and, share your expertise and don't sell. Like, that's what you shouldn't do, because if you sell in Facebook groups, what are people going to do? Yeah, they're going to hit you with the ban hammer. So don't do that. Right. And so, again, the 2 big arguments, I had a couple of friends, Jason, sells sales training, and then Casey, successful in sales. Again, these 2 guys are successful in sales, and I believe they both sell sales training as well. And so, the argument, the numbers game, I kind of already went through that. And I think that if you just view people as numbers, I just don't know if that's the way that I would argue that you should get along in the world. I think it's a very self-centered, self-focused approach. And I think that honestly, people are bright enough and smart enough and intuitive enough that they'll pick up on it. I want you to be in business for a long time. I want you to build this for the long term. Look, if you don't make $1 million your first year, it's going to be okay, right? If it takes you 5 years to replace your full-time income, Is that an okay path? I mean, if you got to walk away from your job because you invested in your brand and maybe you produced YouTube videos or podcasts or, writing a great blog or working with whatever it is that you do. Okay. People are walking away from their full-time jobs within a year, but that doesn't have to be your plan. But imagine if you had this brand expertise and you had this authority and this influence and you had an audience that loved you. It didn't matter what the platform is. You could be platform agnostic, but because you've invested in just giving to people, now people want to be associated with you. And I think that's a far more abundant way of doing business today. And, in terms of long-term success, it's one that I think is much more sustainable. So I want you to be fabulously wealthy. I want you to be fabulously successful. You can absolutely do this, okay? But learn from your customers, learn from your consumers. My friends that commented may not be who's on your hit list. Okay. So maybe your numbers might work a little bit better. Let me know in the comments. All right. But again, I would argue a different approach. 2 books. I've talked about them. Read Bob Burg, The Go-Giver, the sales one. Read that one if you're into sales. And then 2, you need to look at Mark Schaefer's Marketing Rebellion so you can see exactly what consumers are saying today and exactly where we're at. So with that, go make a bunch of sales, go be fabulously successful, go serve a lot of people, go bring a lot of value to the marketplace, and live your dreams. Make sure you hit subscribe. I promise to bring my A game every single video that I offer. If you hit notifications, then you and I can make sure that we engage. If you comment below, I will personally respond, and I would love to get your feedback. Please share this with a friend who needs to hear this message. You can even just do it generically on your own social media feed and maybe tag them or something like that. It's my honor to be of service. You and I doing this work together, we could change the world. We can make this better for all consumers because we're all consumers to begin with. So with that, thank you so much. Hit subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care.